Good morning, traders. Welcome to StockCast. My name is Todd Derby, along with my business partner, co-host James Mason. Good morning, James. How you doing today?
Todd, good morning. How are you doing?
Doing well. Fighting the good fight, living the good life.
Yep. And literally watching this dead pre-market once again. This is probably the worst pre-market, honestly, that I've experienced in probably a year. Like in terms of being dead.
Not today, but overall the last 6 months.
Yeah, it's just been just dead, empty. I mean, like even if we like go to, like outside resources to try to like search, what are people talking about? Nobody's talking about anything. I mean, just petty stuff. Like the market's just not giving us anything. And I was even trying to like look at small caps and stuff last night, and man, the small cap world is just so beat up. There's just no money flowing into it as a whole, and if there ain't no money flowing into it, there ain't going to be no news. So rough times, man. Rough times. Like, I don't know, maybe everybody's just holding off for a market crash or something before they really, I don't know. I've never seen this much money pull out of the market before and it stay out this long.
Well, I said yesterday to you and I were talking about this, that I think that with the pending war in Ukraine, which we're going to comment on, and then I think the March interest rate, people are nervous. Like, is it going to be, how big of an interest rate is it going to be? And is it really going to be a small one? Is it going to be a big one? And I think people are maybe just being cautious because of that is one of my thoughts.
Well, the thing is, usually the small cap world is not really influenced so much by those things. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, the small cap world, though, is literally, it's dead, like gone dead. So who knows? I saw someone made a good comment last night talking about with the crash coming up and the interest rates and everything else. Like a lot of these small cap companies, and don't get me wrong, like my favorite stock, and we all know what it is. I mean, it's hurting right now. But there are other small cap companies who are like delisting down to the OTC markets, like these other companies. Honestly, it might be a good thing for them. I mean, there's some companies out there who are trading around the 25-cent range or lower. And it's just like, oh my God, like you guys have no chance of pulling this back up. And their share structures are so jacked up, like they can't even do a reverse split or anything to save them. And, but the comment on Facebook was, something like, I'm curious to see, or I can't wait to see how many of these NASDAQ listed companies go OTC. Can you imagine going from NASDAQ and being dropped down to OTC? And it does happen, but man, like the hassle you have to go through to get listed on the NASDAQ and then you just get dropped to the OTC market. That sucks.
Didn't we talk about it one time that it's right around $10 million to go from OTC to NASDAQ?
At a minimum.
Yeah. So that's just, I mean, when you think about, I don't care what size company you are, $10 million is a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. Just to get listed. And then you have your ongoing fees and all of your regulations that you have to be compliant with. I mean, I don't know. I personally, I mean, obviously the companies who get listed, they have or should have larger organizations to where, like for us, it wouldn't make sense for us. We don't have enough people to take on and wear all those hats. Like that's a lot of hat wearing to get listed. Like there's so many different roles that have to be filled. And the main one is compliance.
Yeah.
And I don't, and for us specifically, I don't know anybody within our company who would be good at compliance. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the show. So the Dow futures are barely up 80 points in the green. S&P 500 is slightly down, negative 3.5 points. And yeah, we had a nice pullback yesterday at the end of the day in the market. But man, I got chopped around. I kept my losses to an extreme minimum, especially with the amount of money I was trading with. Like when I say extreme minimum, like a $300 loss in the end. So that was a win for me, especially again with how much money I was trading. The market literally was just back and forth, and then literally the same setup started occurring that smoked me the last 3 times. When really the Fed was coming in to buy. So when the market would start to break down, the Fed would come in to buy. And if you remember me saying this, you can tell this by watching the 10-year yields. And when the yields go up, that's the inverse of the market. So when the yields go up, the market should pull back. Well, when the yields are going up and the market's going up, like power moves going up, the Fed's buying. And they just kept hammering it until they finally broke down the yields from going up, and the yields started pulling back. And then the market, started making a really nice push. But I saw that set up again. And the last 3 times, I was like, nah, this will pull back. I'm not going to hold this. And then it would do something crazy. Like SPY would make like a 9-point run. And I would just be smoked. And so I was just not going to do that crap yesterday. Just because, of what the Fed has done before. Now, every time the Fed has come in to buy it up and make it push up, it's like everybody's just been selling off, which is cool for me because I've been hardcore bearish on the market. But yesterday I saw them coming in to do it, and I cut my short position, my puts, and then it went up above 450. Was it 450, 75, I believe, or 70 or something like that. Can't remember my alert range, but I went long in it, and as soon as I went long in it, it started pulling back, and I was like, man, forget this crap, and I cut it too. And then the market like took a steep dive, and here we are today with this nice little pullback. If the Fed would stop freaking trying to prop up their artificial market, they could let the market do what it naturally wants to do, and that is crash. It needs to freaking crash. And because they like to buy up shit, if they let it crash, they can come in and their little hearts could be just tickled and filled with joy because they'd have more money to buy more shit with if they just let it crash. So that's where we stand in the market, in my own words.
So yesterday I shared publicly that I didn't like what was going on in the market. I was going to watch it at the pre-market. And I did. I watched it from 9:30 to a little after 10. Didn't take a trade. Didn't take a trade. So sometimes the best trades are no trades and protecting your capital, and there's just nothing going on. So I didn't want to force it. That's something a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I would have been forcing a trade. And now later in the day when I was away from my desk, there was a runner, ticker NVCT, had a nice run. And when reviewing the trade, I probably would have gotten smoked down trying to short it on the pop, or at least the second run. So yesterday worked out good for me, is sitting here with all my capital.
Yeah. So other than that, since we don't actually have a strong stock to talk about today, we could talk about Facebook and them supposedly trying to flex, saying that they're going to basically pull out of the European market. They're not going to pull out of the European market. They'll figure a way to get around their data compliance issues, or they'll work out a deal with the European, whatever that decides all of the data policies for European users. But if they did pull out the European market, man, you talk about creating such a freaking void. Could you imagine being in Europe and then all of a sudden Facebook just doesn't work anymore? It'd honestly be the freaking end of Facebook. That would be, they won't do it because it would cause them to lose so much revenue. I think it actually would be a pullback of 20% of revenue for them. And after the hit that they just had, no way. They ain't doing it.
It's interesting that Facebook would even try to. It's a flex that I don't understand. I know what they're trying to accomplish, but when you push that domino, that's a big flex. It's a big gamble.
Yeah, I mean, you put yourself in a position, especially as a company of that size, to where you're going against this governing body who's trying to find you and everything else. And I mean, me personally, it was just with how I am. Like Google got a fine from Europe the other day. It was like 1.2 billion or some shit. And lately, this governing body in Europe is all about like finding these big tech companies. I'd have a hard time just telling them to screw off. Like, I'm not paying you your $1 billion fine. What are you gonna do? I mean, really, block my services through all the country's ISPs? Okay. You're just gonna hurt it hurt me, but like you can hurt your people too. So anyways, let's go ahead and let's look through the comments. Let's get some tickers.
All right. I told the members we had to get to 50 likes and we just popped it. So take a look at Peloton. Tony's asking about Peloton. I think that's a good one to review.
PTON. So Peloton, they're pretty much having this little push up right here on the chart after, having this decent little pullback right here. Let me go to daily chart. Be easier. All right. So Peloton having this nice little push up right here, but the reason why they're having this is, I mean, if you haven't been paying attention to what's going on here, literally, if we kind of back up, the company obviously was crushing it when the pandemic opened up. People staying at home. I guess with the stimulus money, we're buying these expensive ass bikes or treadmills or whatever the hell they're buying. And well, now the pandemic is not the way it once was. People are now going back to work or have been going back to work for a long time. And they're 15 minutes in the limelight, probably up. At the end of the day, it's exercise equipment company. And
boy, Peloton people would be offended by what you just said. I mean, people who own a Peloton, it's like a Peloton cult.
Oh, well, at the end of the day, normal people don't give a shit. Like your Peloton is equivalent to a damn NordTrack or whatever else shit that they have on the market. It's a damn bike, and guess what? That bitch is gonna be sitting in your damn shed in the next year or two with your shirt hanging on it. I mean, that's the truth.
The only thing I learned from that statement is that you hang your shirt in the shed.
No, I'm just saying, like. All right, so Peloton. I mean, they're having this nice pullback here. I mean, because there's no demand for that anymore. So really, they got to the point to where, they got to do something. And now, long story short, now Amazon and Nike have an interest into buying them out. Now, Todd and I, we've actually talked about this yesterday, I believe, who would be the best suitor for it. And we both quickly agreed on Nike. Nike has that market that fits perfectly with Peloton. And that's really why the interest is in it right now. I do believe that they will get bought out. Now, I haven't looked into potential buyout prices, but their market cap currently is 9.8 billion. And hold on, let me see how many shares outstanding they have. So 301 million shares outstanding. I wouldn't be surprised. And again, I haven't looked into any potential like dollar offers. Like, I don't even know if there's any out there, just because this ain't one I just trade at all. But their current PPS value is just right above $30. I wouldn't be surprised. Like a lot of times when these companies, and this is the same for like small caps, when they go to get bought out, you can kind of get a guesstimation, and that price range is usually at the very top of where like a gap down is, where they buy you out at. So if there's not a number out in the market yet, and again, I don't know, if there's not a number out in the market yet, if they did have a buyout price of $62 per share, obviously we're talking a 100% premium here. Now, like Todd, have you heard of any like numbers for potential buyout price, or is it just
No.
all
Johnny put in our. Let me see here. Let me pull his comment up here. Johnny posted this that Blackwell Capital urging the CEO to consider selling the company, but he just stepped down. I think.
He stepped down.
So
night or whatever.
So there might be some pressure to pursue a buyout. But I haven't heard a number. No.
Okay. Yeah. So this will be interesting to see what happens here. Now, at the end of the day, when there's just rumors of being a buyout, it's just a rumor. It's all the rumor until it's true. Just keep
buy the rumor, sell the news.
Exactly. Yeah. So keep that in mind. Like, I mean, if you're trying to collect shares right here, accumulate shares, and no buyout comes in, Peloton is going to be trading at $7 here shortly, or something crazy like that. I mean, they're going to be maybe not 7, but probably mid-teens. I mean, they're not too far off from breaking down to their lowest point ever. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. It's not my personal trading strategy to try to catch a buyout like this. It's pure speculation. So that is ticker PTON. In terms of like trading ranges, with what they got going on, it's going to be too hard to trade off of. Like, really, their only catalyst is a potential buyout. So it's a Hail Mary pass in terms of like trading it.
Right.
Yeah, nothing more to say on it than that.
Take a look at ticker SENS. Johnny's put a couple videos out on this one, talked about some levels. They're waiting for some FDA approval. The market appears to be responding to this rumor that the FDA approval is pending or coming. It's something with their something sensor regarding diabetes. It's moved. I was looking at it last week in the $2.85 to $3 range, and I was going to get some or take a starter position. I missed it. I still don't have any, but it's one I've been watching.
So one of the issues that we have going on right here with SENS, just from looking at some of the information in the back end, is we have share structure, 445, almost 446 million shares outstanding. So that's pretty nice. We have a float of 315 million, and then we have a short interest. Let's see, short percent of float 26%, with a total of 82.2 million shares being short. So this actually is a short squeeze right here. So we're having this nice little push, and then on top of it, they have that. Let's see, that pending FDA approval for that glucose monitor. Honestly, with that many shares on the market, man, it's so hard to really say. I haven't looked at Johnny's ranges on it, but this is definitely. Hold on, let me get a 5-minute chart. Like the setup right now, I don't like the setup at the moment. Like, this is not something that I personally would jump in right now to go long in. You can see how it's losing that momentum. You know, we're pushing, and then, you know, you can just kind of look at this and it just feels flat. You see, guys? So all of this momentum, and then it's like struggling right on that 86 EMA line, and then it's just holding up on that 200 EMA line. So right now, I mean, it's kind of looking like it wants to break down today. So let's see going forward what it actually wants to do. I mean, how I trade these is really with this setup, I would have to wait for it to break the high of that candle before really jumping in because I want to see that momentum. I want to catch that momentum going up, especially if there's going to get that hype behind it for that FDA approval on a glucose monitor. Now, I don't really think that's, I don't know exactly what they have going on with that monitor, but I don't think that's like big news. There's so many glucose monitors on the market. So we'll have to see.
So it'll be a spike, it'll be a short squeeze, it'll be a short candidate, and then depending on what happens after there, it's either going to dump or be a short squeeze candidate.
Well, Todd, I believe you're going to be right. I processed that one in my mind. I was like, that covers it in every direction.
Yep, I think you got to go that way.
Yeah. All right. So let's see what else we got.
Yeah, we are under about 5.5 minutes to the start of the market. So maybe one more.
Let's see. I don't see anything else. So, Todd, that is all I have for today. Do you have anything else?
Sounds good. Be smart, be careful, protect your working capital, and
hopefully the market crashes today, or starts that crash. Like, now I'm really not this bearish, but you know why I'm this bearish? Because I'm a contrarian, and I get tired of everybody talking about buying the dip. It's going to bounce. I just want to see them be wrong. I mean,
you were going to share today with everyone why you know the market's going to crash.
Yeah. Well, Jerome Powell don't want it to crash, so we'll see. Up there, playing with all of our taxpayer money.
All right,
everybody. So we appreciate y'all tuning in today. Remember, hit that like button and drop a comment. Other than that, trade safe, trade smart, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.